My status as an assassin obviously exceeds the hero, episode 9. There is no title listed for this yet, so let's talk about it. Welcome back, Evariant. So we're talking about episode 9 of My Status as an Assassin, and there's no title listed, so I'm not sure what the assassin is supposed to do this time because we see how they've been running the titles. But let's just play around with it, see what's going on. So this starts off with Akira asking Gile and Crow how they know each other. You find out that Jalay's mother was one of Crow's disciples, and she could not mentally handle the strain of being his disciple and kind of lost it. And that's when Crow stepped in to continue to raise Jalay, even though, again, his mother lost it mentally and his father was MIA, I guess. I'm not sure. So, he's been there raising him. So it's like, okay, now we see the history. He recommends, and this is Jalay talking to Akira, he recommends that he make his decision soon as far as what he's going to do in regards to the favor that Crow requested. Again, we still do not know the favor that Crow requested. Unless I missed it somewhere, I don't know what it is. So I'm going to be surprised when I find out. If you guys know, good on you. I missed it somewhere. Can't find it. So that being said, we see that Knight returns as a crow. It looks like, as far as I'm concerned, and is basically talking about the investigation. Went to go check out what was going on. Found out that Graham is one who planted the cameras, the ones that were back in Ratisse, as well as the ones here, to spy on everything that's going on. A prior hero had introduced the concept of the cameras, and magic was used to replicate them and put them wherever necessary. So it seems that Graham is in control of all the cameras, possibly. Not sure if anyone else is, or like if the King of Ratisse, has control of it. Like if they're working in leagues together, most likely, he probably has control. But either way, these are the two main places that they've seen the cameras. And there's another place, Yamato, which has a lot of architecture, cuisine, and fashion, which was actually kind of geared off of one of the heroes, which you see a lot of the civilizations are influenced by the heroes that have come through. Wouldn't be surprised if there's some cameras there too. Now, Amelia and crew finally return from their whole ordeal last episode, and Akira summons Kyosuke, Amelia, Crow, Tsukasa, which is the hero. He never calls somebody his name. He always just refers to him as the hero, and Jalei to plan the next move. And Akira is pleased they, managed to shake off the lies and kind of get on track with what needs to happen. But at the same time, he's like, we're still not teaming up together. It's more like we're carpooling to the same destination. So we're on the same ride, but we have different goals, obviously, in mind. So keep that, take that as you will. So as they're setting up to figure out where they need to go next, Akira resolves to stop Graham, and Crow offers his services as a guide in the demon realm if his favor is completed. Again, more leaning on that favor and whatever he needs done. Jalei and the hero party talking about heading to the demon realm and head to the border, and then they'll meet up somewhere along the border, and they're trying to decide where to meet up. And Jalei suggests one spot, which happens to be where Crow's mother resides. The fact is that Crow's mother is still alive. Already begs the question, like, how old is Crow? Like, what is going on? And that's something that Akira questions. But they end up finding another spot, which is a shack nearby that Crow recommends they can meet up, and then just kind of get back together at that point in time, and I guess proceed into the demon realm. Now, when this goes on, Akira is trying to kind of set up to get ready. So he's perusing a bookstore because, again, he likes knowledge. He likes to know what's going on. He likes to read. Amelia takes this time to go talk to Crow and asks, please do not place any undue stress on Akira, to which he laughs, like, yeah, I may not. I'm not promising you nothing. And then again, she makes a request to be a disciple. And with everything that's been going on, he decides that, you know what? I'll take you on as a disciple because you are the princess and the savior of your people. So maybe you won't lose it. And maybe you'll be able to handle everything I'm throwing at you. So, why not? Let's give it a shot. So he sets up and they get on the carriage and they end up going. And we see that it's been like 3 days riding the carriage. And she has progressed like pretty fast for what he's normally accustomed to with people dealing with all his magic and all the different skills and stuff that he has. So the fact is that she's able to progress so fast is amazing in itself. And he takes that as, okay, yeah, you are the one. And eventually he tells her, go ahead and get some rest. And she like passes out. And then Crow and Akira start talking. This is where we really get some background here, because Crow speaks of the hero of legend, the technique that he reproduced from the hero of legend called is extra skill inversion. And basically allows the user to instantly replicate and cancel out any spell that they witness. And apparently it's instantaneous. So as soon as he uses it, like it's done on site. So as soon as whatever spell is cast, like a counter for it is immediately produced. So it's like that is like extremely powerful and OP. So definitely if Akira gets his hands on this, or if Amelia gets her hands on this, then they're going to be a force to be reckoned with for sure. Now, the thing about it though is it requires a mastery of the ancient language, like to its entirety. It's a complicated script in which each letter is imbued with enough power to drive a person to madness. This is possibly what happened to Jalay's mother. She was attempting to learn and she did not make it. So, falter once, your mind is gone. So, you cannot mess this up. So, Amelia has some work to do for sure. You know, Crow learned this whole skill because he actually had time. He had more time than most people because beast folk on average live 2 times longer than human folk. So you estimate a human lives average of say 80 to 100 years, right? So beast folk live longer, twice as long as that. But apparently his strange mother drank a strange potion while she was pregnant with him, allowed him to exceed his lifespan. So he has already been alive 4 times, I guess, what a human has been, according to the math. So he's possibly in the ballpark of, 300 to 400 years old. He's been around. And the fact is that his mother is still alive as well. So depending on when she took the potion, how old she already was when she took the potion, and it extended her from that point on, she's still alive. She's doing stuff. So what is up with this potion? What is going on? What did this do? Uh, is this something that can come into play later? I don't know, but I got questions, so we'll get to that. So as he finds this out, and that, you know, Crow just wants to, finish, not die until he avenges his sister, and then he finally wants to rest in peace. That's just his goal. So I feel like, yeah, that's kind of foreshadowing. We're gonna lose him at some point in time. Don't know how, but probably like a nice little self-sacrifice thing that he does. So Akira and crew finally arrive in Uruk, and Crow goes to secure lodging, and he said he's already contacted Leah. Meet at the fountain, and she'll be able to take you wherever you need to go. So Akira and Amelia basically go on a date until it's time to meet up with Leah, and they're out there snacking and enjoying themselves. I think Amelia eats like 8 full portions of whatever it is she was eating, so she was kind of going in, and Leah shows up. We also find out during the course of the character that Leah was actually named after Amelia. So Crow is the one that named her, and due to when she was born, I guess Crow's one of the, again, most seasons guy there, so they went to him for advice, I guess, for the princess, and named her Leah because Amelia was a legend, is a hero in his eyes, and somebody I guess he never thought he would meet. So the fact is that he has met her, and she is progressing as well as she is for the magic stuff. Leah is more or less her namesake, and probably wants to learn very similar stuff. So, and it's possible that he was training her for a while. And then again, that's why all this kind of comes to mind, because when they're actually having a conversation about the skills, and we talked about her skill and how her skill is an extension of her barrier techniques, which is inverted spirit barrier, we see that she gets shocked when it's mentioned that Amelia is going to learn the inversion. So it was like, okay, we got inverted and inversion. Inverted is probably as far as Leo was able to go. Inversion is the next step, and Leah probably wants to learn it, or is kind of shocked that she's being taught it as opposed to maybe her, or the fact that he's even passing it on to begin with. Don't know. So we gotta wait and find out what Leah's thoughts are on everything. So after they finish their date, they end up going to meet with King Ixam, who has basically set out a spread, a lunch, and wants to have them eat. But first we got to get down to business before we even eat. So let's talk. He's like, I have a job for you. I request an assassination. Hard no. It's like, what? Akira immediately refuses whatever it is that he wants to do. And there's this guy named Victor, this beast folk. He's got like a kind of like the centaur kind of thing. So he's got the horse body and the more beast folk upper half, he's annoyed by everything that Akira says because he kind of views it as disrespectful and rude or whatever the case may be. But Akira's like, yeah, no, I don't want to do this. Even if you're offering me safe passage and reward, no, I don't want to do it. And eventually the king's like, it's Graham. I need you to take out Graham. He's like, Graham keeps coming up. Like, what is with this Graham dude? Apparently, Graham was demoted from minister to guildmaster to keep him away from public affairs, but he is still doing damage to the reputation of the king and the entire city or whatever is done within their politics. And it is a problem. So the king wants him gone. And he's still like, yeah, no, I'm not doing it. And Amelia goes to his defense and she's ready to take on Victor. Like, hey, yo, you better back up. Don't call my man a liar. Don't call him anything. So they're getting ready to scrap, and he's like, no, calms her down. We're not going to do this. Victor requests a duel, and the king's like, yeah, let's do a duel. So Akira's like, we can settle this very easily. So they get to work and they set up for a duel. And this duel is over in a matter of like 30 seconds. He throws his swords to Amelia and uses his daggers, little kind of shuriken daggers, whatever, and just starts going to work. Eventually, just chops up his staff and holds one to his throat and was like, yeah, you yield, you're done. I win. And we'll call it a day. And the king is obviously upset, but excited at the same time because it was a great duel. But he's like, he's not going to do what I asked him to do. So whatever. And he looks at Amelia. It's like, you really want to, play with him like that? Play with this human, knowing that you're going to live longer than him. And so like that. And Leah is like, father, like, stop, don't do that. But that gives Amelia kind of food for thought, which is why I think that that potion can come into play later on. If we know what that potion is, and Akira is able to drink that potion, then extend his lifespan. So now he can spend more time with Amelia and they can live out their days together or something to that effect. I don't know. I'm speculating. By the way, easily defeated. The king made that comment, and we actually have Crow when they get back to the inn, which Crow is secure, which is a very nice place, by the way. Crow talks about how Akira reminds him of somebody because while Amelia wants to kind of, hey, there's a nice big bed, let's go hang out. He's like, yeah, no, I need to read. And he's reading more books. He's like, yeah, you remind me of someone of Saren Mithray, and with that, that triggers Akira immediately in his head. Like, what do you know? And it's like they're talking about the Night Ravens and stuff. So now he's like, yeah, the Night Ravens were the one who, most likely took him out. That was the thing. And then Crow's like, well, the Night Ravens were sent by Graham. Like they're Graham's people. So that gives Akira even more lust for, you know, I must take out freaking Graham. Like he needs to take out Graham. But I don't know if Crow is manipulating him throughout this entire thing because, again, Crow seems to conveniently have details in regards to what Graham is doing, and Graham has got his finger in everything. And Graham could literally just have his finger in everything, but this keeps giving Akira more and more ammunition to go after Graham. So many things are put into place for him to go after Graham. So like Graham is like pretty high on the agenda right now and needs to be dealt with for them to either get revenge for Saren Mithray, to call in a favor, to get safe pass from the king and get a reward, to have him to stop going after Amelia. Like one thing after another just involves Graham. So, hey, that's the catalyst. What do you got to do? If you want to stop the reaction, you got to take out the catalyst. So Graham needs to go. But again, what other problems is that going to cause if he gets gone? We also see that Knight ends up, while doing reconnaissance, ends up running into Laddie, the old ladder snail, and Laddie's joining in on the recon now and stuff. So that's going to be some things because she was like, "Where's my friends at? I want to see everybody." So this was a good episode because again, I like it, it kept poking and prodding at the mental, like what is going to happen? What is going to happen with this? Who's going to do what? You know, what is Graham after? What is Crow after? Why does we kind of got an idea why the king wants to take out Graham? But is there any underlying things? The Kingdom of Ortiz, we already know they got some funky stuff going on. I got several questions. So I'm enjoying the show and I'm enjoying the treat because they got me wondering like what's the next step. So I'm happy with it. Anyway, freaking make sure you hit that little red subscribe button. Again, appreciate each and every one of y'all. These have been fantastic episodes. Can't wait to see episode 10. Hopefully this goes 24 episodes instead of just like 12. But again, I don't know what the episode count is for this. So I'm kind of winging it right here along with you guys. So we'll find out as we go. So until then, I'll catch you guys in the next one.